This video is on inverse functions for your 8Delta classes. What I would like you to do is read the knowledge organiser, watch the video and work through examples from page 1, try the questions from the page 2 of the knowledge organiser and complete any maths watchword set. So what we're going to look at today is finding the inverse function of a function. An inverse function reverses the effect of the original function. If you think about what the definition of inverse is, it means opposite. So the inverse of timesing by something is dividing. The inverse of adding a number is taking away. If you were to have a number and you were to times it by 3, it gives you 6. If you were to get that number and divide it by 3, which is the inverse operation there, it takes you back to your original answer, which is 2. That is what our function's going to do. Now this here just describes function notation for a function. So it says the inverse function of the function for x is it describes that the function for x is 2x plus 1 and you're being asked to find the inverse function. I'll say that again because I got my words mixed up there. This describes the function for x is 2x plus 1 and it's asking you to find the inverse function. Now in terms of this, you set this function up as a flowchart to help you work this out. So if you imagine you've got x, that's what you start with, you're timesing it by 2 to get 2x, you're then adding 1 and it's giving you 2x plus 1. So what you do is you work out the inverse function based on these operations and then you put x in and you work out what you would get when it comes out to the end. If we did that, x take away 1 gives us x take away 1. So at that point in time you would have that. You're then going to divide this by 2. And I'm going to write that as a fraction. Now I could write that as x take away 1 in brackets divided by 2. Some of you will have wrote this as x take away 1 divided by 2 like that. Now that's incorrect because you're only dividing the 1 by 2 through the laws of BIDMAS. I had it with brackets around it up here. It's easier to get into the habit of writing it as a fraction like this here because it addresses any misconceptions you may have when we go on to do any other topics. I'm going to go through this again for another function. So I'm just going to give you a function here. I'm going to say 4x plus 3. And say we set that up and we go times by 4, add 3. And if we were to put x in, 4x plus 3 comes out. Check this out if you want to make sure that you're right in your function notation. X times 4 is 4x, add 3 is 4x plus 3. Now you're going to do the opposite. So you take away 3, you divide by 4, and you put x in. And what happens is you get x take away 3, divide by 4, and you get x take away 3 all over 4. And that is your inverse function. I'm going to do another one just to show you. So this time I'm going to do 2 brackets x plus 3. Now this one is slightly different because what's happening is I'm adding 3, then I'm timesing by 2. And that's why there's brackets there. Now I could expand those brackets, which I know you can do. I could expand those brackets and write this function a different way. But that's how this is written for this. And what comes out is 2 brackets x plus 3. So if I'm going to do this the other way, divide by 2 at this stage, then I take away 3. When I put in x, when I divide by 2, I get x over 2. When I take away 3, what's going to come out is x over 2 take away 3. Notice the take away 3 is not in the fraction because I'm taking away 3 from x divided by 2. So I've done a couple of examples here of how we could do this in terms of our inverse functions. The one thing I haven't done in this is I haven't wrote my statement on my problems at the bottom to finish it off, and I'm going to talk to you about that now. Write a statement. The inverse function of x to 2x plus 1 is, and for every question I want you to make sure you're writing that statement at the bottom. Can you use this to complete the questions on page 2 of your knowledge organiser in any Maths Watch work set? Thank you.